Remember guys, when you take responsibility, you will gain powerful abilities. Having huge power is cool and all, but remember to not be a total goober with it. With immense power, likewise, is immense responsibility. If you're granted the voice of an angel, sing responsibly so you don't shatter the glass. Responsibility is a response to your ability. To your ability. To your ability. Oh, hi everyone. This is Shash, and this is definitely not a Pepsi commercial, I promise. Today we're going to review Worst Movie of the Year contender, Madam Web. If for some reason you care about spoilers for this film, then yeah, go to this point in the video so you don't hear any. There's your warning. 3, 2, 1. This film was written by too many people and it was directed by S.J. Clarkson. This is the 4th film in the Sony Spider-Man universe. I have not been a fan of any of the films that have come out of this. I trashed Morbius on this channel 2 years ago. Venom was terrible. I haven't seen Let There Be Carnage, but let's be real, guys. Would I actually like it? So yeah, my expectations weren't very high, and yet somehow this film manages to be worse than Morpheus and Venom. Madam Web is about a lady who's a paramedic that starts developing clairvoyance and then gets stuck with 3 teenagers as Green Spider-Man, or sort of Spider-Man, tries to kill them. Yep, that's it. There's so much to talk about with this film in terms of what it does wrong that I actually don't want to talk about the story too much because I don't think the story is necessarily the main problem. It's very clearly going for a Doctor Strange type of experience. Is it silly? Sure. Is the dialogue bad? Sure. Is the ending mental? Sure. But at least some of the basic ideas in this script have some potential, something I didn't feel as strongly about with Venom or Morpheus. There's a lot of overlap between the themes of this film and Spider-Verse. All of the Spider-Woman characters, including Madam Web, have parental issues like Peter Parker. There's a strong theme of motherhood that's established as Madam Web feels called to protect these young girls whose parents aren't around. With the death of Madam Web's own mother, you got the ingredients for a sympathetic character. Unfortunately, Sony's attempt at making this film is so transparently insincere and inept in every way that these ideas never really had a chance to work. I think that Sony has almost made it part of their brand at this point to make purposefully terrible superhero films no matter what, no matter who is in charge. The same mistakes keep happening over and over and over again. Terrible writing, terrible editing, bad acting, incoherently structured action scenes, obnoxious CGI, bland music. The sound design is so bad. There's a few noticeable scenes where the audio is muffled and filtered to hell, like someone ran like 20 passes of noise reduction or something. As cynical as I can be towards superhero films, I generally don't want them to just bomb at the box office. I like watching stuff at the theater sometimes, so I want superhero movies to do well, to give theaters a reason to stick around. But when films like these are put out, it really makes a good argument for why superhero films should probably just die out. I feel pretty bad for most of the people involved, because if you judged their talents based on this film alone and not their other work, you would think they're terrible at what they do. Most of the actors in this film, for example, deliver pretty much terrible performances across the board. But I've seen performances from them where they've been really good, including Dakota Johnson, Sydney Sweeney, and Adam Scott. I also felt the same way when I was watching Venom, a film that also features mostly terrible performances across the board from actors like Tom Hardy, Riz Ahmed, and fucking Oscar winner Michelle Williams. I definitely think S.J. Clarkson is at least partially responsible for how bad these performances are. There are just too many times where an actor will give a confused line reading that doesn't flow with what was previously said, or just doesn't understand what the script is communicating. There's a scene that really sticks out in my mind when these girls rendezvous with Dakota Johnson, and Sydney Sweeney practically reads every line the same exact way. It's so atrocious that it borders on so bad it's good territory. The villain in the film, played by Tahar Rahim, who is a well-respected French actor, was so bad that I probably laughed half the time he was on screen. Not just because the performance is stiff, but there's a good portion of his dialogue that is very clearly dubbed, something that also happened a few times in Morpheus. Sometimes I felt like this movie wanted you to forget the villain even existed with how it finds every excuse to cut away from him while his lips are moving. Like the awkward scenes when he's talking to his assistant and the camera will just hold on her for long periods of time while he's talking. My guess is that Sony knew the ADR was bad, but I guess they couldn't reshoot the scenes, so they were just like, F it, we'll just poorly hide it in the edit. Actors will often say that they rely on editors to cut together the best parts of their performance to make the performance as good as it can be. I feel like in the case of Tahar Rahim, they did the exact opposite. I don't think it's just the actors though. I think everybody involved was on a sinking ship of a production that put them in a situation where it would be easy to fail. Dakota Johnson sort of admitted this during the chaotic press tour for the film, saying, "I've never really done a movie where you're on a blue screen and there's fake explosions going off and someone's going, explosion, and you act like there's an explosion." That to me was absolutely psychotic. I was like, I don't know if this is going to be good at all. I hope I did an okay job. She's also admitted to not seeing the film yet, although to be fair, it's normal for actors to not want to watch themselves in their movies. I remember the whole story about Adam Driver walking out of the interview with NPR because the guy was playing clips from A Marriage Story. But her performance in the film might suggest that she maybe knew what this film was the whole time. What makes all of this so frustrating is that it seems like at least some of the glaring editing issues might have been avoided had Sony known what they wanted to do before production finished filming. From what I've read, Sony initially wanted Andrew Garfield to be the Spider-Man of the Madam Web world, but they changed their mind during the course of production and decided to include Tom Holland's Spider-Man instead. This forced Sony to acknowledge a timeline error caused by Madam Web reportedly being set in the 90s, prompting them to reshoot and eliminate any references to Spider-Man in a specific year. Snorbius also had similar issues where they had to restructure big parts of the story to align more closely with the events of No Way Home and other movies whose release timelines have been altered significantly because of COVID. And to be fair, I think that's actually a pretty good excuse since COVID was truly beyond anyone's control. But I'm not willing to give Madam Web the same grace since the big issue here was the result of executives deciding to make a huge change way late in the game. I know that production can be extremely challenging and that plans and ideas can change fluidly in this chaotic market of superhero movies, but is it really too much to ask a wealthy studio like Sony with all the talent and all the resources at its disposal to put up some safeguards that prevents the story from getting fucking murdered in the editing room? From the very outset of this film, I was really confused. Sometimes it feels like it's a shitty handheld action flick, like 12 rounds. Quick flashing horror montages makes you feel like you're watching Saw or Wrong Turn, and then other times it feels like you're just like watching a conventional like superhero film like No Way Home. I think the editing is also trying to compensate for the fact that the cinematography doesn't really feel cohesive. There are large portions of Madam Web that really goes for the gritty, handheld, quick-cutting style, while other parts are shot in a more conventional way, locked off on a tripod. The handheld, quick-cutting stuff really gets out of hand often, especially in the opening, during the big confrontation when the camera gets really shaky and they start doing these quick zooms on the characters. The zooms are so distracting and honestly would have fit better if the scene was meant to be funny or making fun of itself. What follows right after is this embarrassing sequence where these natives with the abilities of Spider-Man try to save Madam Web's mother, cartoonishly jumping from tree to tree. The CGI looks like ass. Oh my god, there's so much more I could go into, but all of this can be summarized in the fact that very little heart and soul was put into this film. I know people like to dunk on how bad DC movies are and how Marvel has not been putting out their best work recently, but at least those films feel like they're trying to be good. If you set the Spider-Verse films aside and you don't include the Tom Holland Spider-Man films, which are mostly Marvel productions anyway, there aren't any superhero movies I can think of that Sony has done in years that have been worth watching. I've reviewed my fair share of bad films on this channel, and I can honestly say that Madam Web might possibly be the worst of all of them, so long as you don't include the 15 to 17 to Paris. That movie was, Oh man. But yeah, if you watch this ironically, it might be worth it. This is a certified train wreck. I'm going to give Madam Web a 0.5 out of 5. Also, I'm going to update my score for the 1517 to Paris to a 0.4 out of 5 because it is definitely worse than Madam Web and most other films. Yeah. Thanks for watching this review, guys. I really appreciate it. Let me know what you think about Madam Web in the comment section below. Is it amazing? Is it terrible? Is it the worst thing you've seen in years? That's probably what you're going to say. But yeah, just let me know. If you like what you see, hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications so you can know when I drop the next video. That's going to be it for me. I'll see you guys next time.